We are at the closing of our institute. We're just coming back from great discussions that we had in our different workshops. And throughout the day, throughout the 3 days, we have been having discussions, and we would love to hear from you within this session, how the discussions went. And we will be really interested in knowing your perceptions, what you feel, and how you have enjoyed or not the sessions. I know you've been having evaluations. The session is going to unfold in 3 to 4 different steps. We're going to review our key discussions. Then we look at what are the ways forward. Then we recognize participants, and then we officially close. Before then, I really want to send to you greetings and congratulations from the PIRL Steering Committee. We have a steering committee that oversees everything that happens in the project. The steering committee is sending you congratulations for participating and sending you greetings as well. We had the Institute organizers. There were 4 of them. That is Leslie, Lynn, Louis, and 9. We also want to really thank you for bearing with us when we had itches and for taking all your time to prepare the presentations, prepare yourselves, ask questions, give contributions. We are really thankful to you because we could organize, but then if you don't come and participate, it will be a failure. So we want to really thank you. All the PIRL partners, both in Cameroon and Canada, are very appreciative. The speakers as well and the moderators are thankful to you that it has been really 3 exciting days and you have dedicated your time to be with us. We just want to note a few things. I would like to call on Leslie to give us a few things that we'll take note of, even as we end this session, we end this institute today. Leslie?
Hi, yes, I'm here. So thank you once more to everyone for joining us during these 3 days. So I just wanted to highlight a few things. First of all, the evaluations. So I just wanted to thank everybody for completing the evaluations. And on day 1, we mentioned that we had a points system. So all of you who completed the evaluations within 24 hours obtained points for those. And even today, at the end of your workshop, you were asked to complete one. So you still have the next 24 hours to complete it in order to get the points. However, it doesn't only end there. We are going to leave it open for the next 2 weeks to give you an opportunity if you would prefer to reflect about your experience before giving an evaluation. So we encourage that to happen. So you still have the next 2 weeks to complete those. And in the next future as well, we will be sending a link for an overall evaluation, which is just basically the questions are going to look at the whole 3 days instead. Also, I wanted to mention, talk about the certificates. So certificates are going to be awarded to participants based on them obtaining at least 20 points. So you obtain points through attendance, that is by joining the sessions, by sharing your pictures. So you still have time to share some of your pictures that you took during the institute, whether it's a selfie of yourself, whether it's a picture of the room in which you are, the space where you're joining from. Please go ahead and do that. So all those who took part in these different activities are going to be awarded certificates, and we will be reaching out to you via email in the next week to basically do that. And lastly, even though this is the wrap-up session where we are all here together, this is not the final session for the Institute. So we still have a student session. On day one, Elvia was with us to do sketchnoting. So sketchnoting is just a different way of taking notes where you are more engaged, where you engage your brain more by using graphics, by using drawings, by using just different styles, and you don't need to be an artist to do that. So please feel free to join us for that session, which is going to be right after this one. So I just wanted to keep that fresh in our mind as we move on with this. And thank you so much once more for being with us during these 3 days.
Thank you, Leslie, for those key points for us to note. So we're going to have at this point a review of our key discussions that we have had for these 3 days. On day one, we had a workshop. Our workshop one was on planning and hosting webinars for knowledge translation. And our workshop two was on clear language and infographics. Please, could somebody just, who attended workshop one, tell us what happened in workshop one?
Hi, Luis, I can speak.
Thank you very much.
So in workshop one, we talked about the importance of technological agility for interacting online and spreading the word. So we talked about how to ensure that participants in your webinar are engaged, like using polls and whiteboard, considering the format, whether it's going to be on Zoom or Microsoft Teams or recorded on YouTube. Third, we talked about the style. So if it would be more of an interview, if there would be presentations, and then also considering the length, probably closer to 45 minutes to an hour usually. And then we discussed how to plan a webinar properly. So choosing your team, designing the webinar, choosing the timeline and the schedule, and then also some tips. So how to consider accessibility needs, for people with different abilities that will be attending, how to promote your webinar, and then also some tools that you can use to plan it accordingly. So that's what we talked about in the first workshop.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Workshop two was on clear language. Just want to know who is there to talk about workshop two. Sorry.
So this is Ellen, and I did the introductory part on clear language, and I think Nain did the second part on the policy brief, and Zara and Sumaira did the part on graphics and infographics, and they shared some interesting graphics they'd used in their work with some young new Canadians who came here as refugees, and they did a life course graphics. So my workshop on clear language focused on three main parts. The first was the idea that whatever you write or you present or you communicate, you need to think about your audience. And the second was some practical tips for how to write clearly for academic articles. And this would apply to any form of writing. And my third part was also encouraging everybody to please learn how to use accessibility features that are built into Google Docs or Word to make sure you have used alt text on your graphics and use the accessibility checker in a word processor. Nain, if you want to add a little bit about policy briefs. I'm not sure if you do.
Okay.
Hi, Ellen. I think you have shared basically what we did on day one on clear language. The policy brief was just another method of disseminating research evidence to our audience. And what we talked about was how you can develop your policy brief, the template, and having your audience into mind because you want to be clear. You want to move them from the problem to the solution and give them evidence-based recommendations on how to make the best decisions. So that's basically it.
Thank you, Nain. Let's go to day two. And we had the first workshop on day 2 was introducing us to digital storytelling, and workshop 2 was looking at understanding the writing process. So we want to know, is there any participant for workshop 1 day 2 on the digital storytelling who has something to say? The names I've put there are just indicative. So if there is anybody around who participated, please, you can do. Kendra, you have the floor. I see your hand raised.
Okay, hello everyone, and thank you so much, Dr. Luis. On digital storytelling, it was a very remarkable topic, a topic I'm so much interested in. And there we saw the use of graphics, we saw the use of sounds in order to tell a story about pertinent situations that are happening in and around us. And we had to watch some very incredible stories. We watched a story on feminism. We watched a story on identity, and we watched a story on domestic violence. And we saw that with digital storytelling, you could tell stories about anything that is happening around you. And we saw that we begin from the micro level to the macro level, where the story begins maybe bleak start, and at the end we have joyful moments, we have hope, we have happiness, we have happy endings. However, it's not in every story that would definitely have a happy ending. It could have a happy ending which still comes with some little hurdles. That doesn't mean that maybe when you pass through a solution, when you pass through a problem, and then you have a solution, everything is fine. There must still be those little hurdles so that you can fight or you can try to combat. And we saw that any person could do a digital story, and you need to have good concepts about your computers, and your images need to match the messages you're sharing. Your images need to match whatever information you're trying to pass across, and you need to select sounds or music that applies to the story you're trying to tell. And we also learned that you could tell stories from your personal experiences. Like the first story we watched on feminism, we saw somebody talking about how the sister had to go through some hurdles and the rest, and finally she graduated and had a master's degree, meaning that it was a personal story. And we saw that with digital storytelling, when you tell stories from a personal perspective, you create more impact. And we also saw that different policies apply to different countries when it comes to the use of images. You may want to take primary images from the source, or you may want to use maybe images from the internet or wherever, but make sure that you've been given authorization, and try to check the policies of your country that applies with using images, especially those that are found on social media, before you use them. So I think that's what I can say as far as the digital storytelling is concerned. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Kendra. You have given a great overview of what happened in that workshop. Let's go to workshop 2. It was focused on understanding the writing process, academic writing process, and publication, and so on. Is there anybody who attended workshop 2 who wants to give us a review of what happened in that workshop?
I'm Jane, and I did some of the presentation there and attended and facilitated some of the groups, so I could speak to it a little bit. Elvis and I provided an overview of the writing process for publications. So considering the importance of disseminating work to help create research connections with other people, with other researchers, as well as also providing support for ethical sort of follow-up with respects to disseminating research around participants' voices and when they've provided their time and commitment to research. We also discussed different types of academic writing, as well as different types of popular media that could be expanded on to enhance the reach of research or your work, so theoretical work, opinion-based work. And then we spent a fair bit of time on choosing your journal. So what are the parameters around choosing a journal? What are the considerations? So including the focus, the audience you're interested in, the topic of your paper, the bibliometrics or the potential for access by others of the journal, including where it might be indexed in different databases so that people can find the article, as well as aspects around author guidelines, and considerations around authorship as well. So considering who should be authors, who should be included authors, the process for considering authorship, all which have basis in ethical publishing. So I think that's about the nature of that. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Jane. It was really an engaging workshop, and thank you for this overview that permits us to have a summary of what happens in that workshop, and the discussions continue and continue. Let's move to the third day, which was today. And we had two exciting workshops on introducing us to theater in knowledge translation, and also to community and participatory theater. So we have had these two workshops already, and we are here in plenary. I would love somebody who was in workshop 1 to give us a summary of what was discussed in workshop 1. Any volunteer? If Paul is around, if Tafo is around, please give us an overview of what was discussed.
Great. Thank you very much, Luis, for this opportunity once again. And I must say that if there is any workshop that is still fresh in our memory, it should be the workshop that we had today, which was actually on the introduction of using theater for knowledge sharing. In fact, in this workshop, we had a couple of smaller group works that were partitioned into 4, and we saw how we can be able to use verbatim theater, we can be able to use participatory theater, and we can be able to use theater of the oppressed or community theater, and documentary theater, of course, in sharing knowledge. So these forms of theater taken by themselves constitute an arsenal of techniques that we can be able to use to share knowledge, and which points to the fact that theater is situated at the crossroads of many disciplines, including disability research, and how to be able to disseminate the information that we gather from our research projects. So this said, it was very clear that when we effectively engage in the use of theater, putting behind us all the barriers that make people think that, no, I'm not a good actor, I'm not a good actress, by embracing the notion that our daily life is involved with the creation of theater, and we can be able to embark on different methods of using these techniques in sharing our knowledge that we acquire from our research projects. So we heard from specialists in the area, we heard from Tafuate, we heard from Vincent Mbomtubo, we heard from Lynn Cobon, we heard from Lanjo Sidonius, and many others who were able to intervene and share their experiences, either participating like a participant in a theater of the oppressed session, or being like a distant observer in one of these activities. So the memory is still fresh because we are just coming out from that session. And I think that if there's another person that can add something, the person can be able to add. Maybe VC or some other person, or Kendra might have something to add, or Lynn even, or Lanjo, or Davis, who are having things to add, they can do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it's okay. We also want to thank the University of Bamenda and especially the Visual and Performing Arts Department, whose chair is Professor Paul Nimbo, and that they were very instrumental in that session, in that workshop in the morning. Let us move to workshop 2. Is there anybody who participated in the workshop to give us an overview?
Okay, Luis. So we were talking about community theater and storytelling for knowledge dissemination. And we had some interesting discussions with Penka, Bongne Penka and Akumu, who shared us various stages to go through when you want to do a storytelling event. From the researcher's perspective, we heard that you have to choose the topic, you do the research, you synthesize the evidence, develop evidence statements, you share with the storytellers, and they now share the story. And also they have to take into consideration the community they are disseminating the evidence to by doing what they call using the trans-theoretical theory. That's evaluating whether the community is at the pre-contemplation, they are at the contemplation, they are ready to take the intervention, or they are at the level of maintenance. We also had discussions with Akumu, who shared different theater approaches. We had theater of the oppressed and theater for development. We also shared some challenges like budgeting and dealing with some surprises when you're doing theater for disseminating knowledge or evidence to audience. And we really had some interest because some questions pop up. You may go to act and then you instead provoke conflict. And so we were discussing around that, how we will handle such challenges. So Akumbo had shared that if we were theater of the oppressed, you work with the community, so you address that before you get to the stage where you're acting, so that such are eliminated. So that's basically a brief of what we shared. If Helen or Constance want to add anything, they can just go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nine. Let us move to the students session. There was, within all these days, we had student sessions, and in the student session, we learned about sketchnoting. We had students that did their study presentations, and we are still going to have, at the close of this workshop, the students will still go to present some of their sketch notes that they have done. So if Elvia is there, or any student that participated in any of these sessions, please, could you just tell us what happened in any of the 2 sessions that have taken place already?
Hi, I can talk about the research study presentations. So I want to thank the students for all the work that they did and presenting to us and sharing their research with us. So we had the opportunity to hear from 3 students who shared their research with us. And we had Shiri first, who shared her proposal for research exploring the potential ways to support children with dysarthria. Then we had Alice, who shared her research on the sexual and reproductive health of young people living with disabilities in Cameroon. And then we had Lanjo, whose research is really relevant to today's sessions, who shared his research about therapeutic theater as an approach to mental health wellness among adults living with disabilities. Yeah, so those were the 3 presentations, and they were really great to listen to. So thank you to those students.
Okay, thank you so much, Krina. Sketchnoting. Is there anybody who took part and who wants to share a bit about that?
I can, if no one else.
Okay, Lynn, go ahead.
If anyone else has a sketch note that they would like to share, please please do so. I'm going to put on my video and show you the sketch note that I've been doing for this session. It has the wrap-up session title at the top, and I've been adding words as people talk, some of the key points, things like it's the review of the workshops, all the words that people are saying, clear language, accessibility, digital storytelling, feelings. So Alvia has led us in some instructions about how to take notes in ways that we can remember. I'll also show you the one that I have from the overview of theater, and it has 4 sections of the different kinds of theater that we discussed in that workshop. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lee.
I see Leslie has her hand up as well.
Yes, Leslie, please.
Yeah, I also wanted to share some of the sketch notes I took. So this is from yesterday, what I have. I used the book, so it's a bit different, hard to show, but this is, okay, that's a bit light. But this is what I had during the intro session when we had Mahadeo, Julius, and Veronica sharing their story. So that's the sketch notes I made. And during the digital story session, this is what I also made. So just highlighting the different components that we talked about and the different aspects of storytelling. So even though I was doing other tech things, it was still possible to engage in sketchnoting. So that was a very helpful process for me as well.
Thank you very much, Leslie. Leslie has been the brain behind most of the organization. She's one of the members of the organizing team. And just because I know that she's going to leave soon because she's organizing the student session that is going to take place after this session, I want to, on behalf of the PIRL team, really give you, Leslie, a huge thank you and appreciation for all the work that you have done behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and we really appreciate you for that. There is one of the things that we have learned as organizers is that there are times you organize everything, and then at the moment you want to, people are joining and you want to go ahead, there is some tensions and things are not happening the way you planned, but Leslie has always been calm and manages all the tensions and the things. So we really appreciate you, and that is one of the key things that we have learned from organizing conferences and sessions that we are taking from you. So if you want to leave at any moment soon to organize the students session that is coming up, feel free to go, and we are so grateful to you, and the PIRL team will continue to have you in our books. Thank you. Now, we want to also look at what are some of your reflections, even as you attended this institute. Do you have any story to share? Do you have anything you want to say that marked you as you were attending this institute in very simple ways? So we want to give this opportunity to anybody who has something to share about the institute, a story, or what interested you most, or something. Like I was already sharing, one of the things that marked me in the institute, participating as an organizer, was to make sure I keep my calm, to make sure I am able to manage the tensions that come with planning and doing something and then it's not working the way you planned, and you have to, if you get annoyed, then you will spoil the whole thing. So you have to regain your consciousness and make sure that you are balanced for things to move. And that is one of the things that I've learned from Leslie as well. So that was really interesting to me, and the kind of engagement that people showed. We found people who were in places where connection was a problem, internet connection was a problem, but they went out and they came back again and they had to get to us through other communication by email, by WhatsApp to reconnect them and so on. So it touched me a lot, and I was telling myself, what next? We need to do something great, something more. What is the next step? So it was really interesting to me. Is there anybody to share their own story? All right, even if you don't have to share it now, there is still an opportunity for you to share. We are going to be giving you our links that you could share any interesting thing. I know you've been doing evaluations and so on, but I just wanted to give you an opportunity to share any interesting thing you had within the Institute. So what do you think can be our possible ways forward? What should we do next? We are at the end of this institute in 2021, but we also want to let you know that these institutes were funded by SHED. SHED is the Social Science and Humanities Research Council of Canada, and it was funded for 3 years. That is from 2019, 2020, and 2021. So we want to look at what has been the impact even. I know you've been filling your evaluation forms, and we'll still be sending you something to fill. We just want to know from you, do you really think that this is even something that is worth organizing? What was interesting to you and what did not go well? Any of those questions, you could feel free to respond to any of them. How could we ameliorate this in future?
Okay, I have something to say, Veronica, here.
Okay, Vero, go ahead.
Okay, for this PIRL Institute 2021, it has been the most interesting for the past 3 years. The learnings were very organized and in a different way that was more teaching. And by the time since I got into PIRL, which is a new thing to me, and an IT research, as for the first PIRL Institute, I had not had some good understanding, even the second one, but in this one now, it's more practical and there are new things and good things I have learned that will improve on my profession.
Okay.
That what has been the impact of the Institute, and it is going to really help the Northwest Women Forum, because now we understand how we can do digital stories and use them for advocacy. We also now understand that based on some pictures that we even have in our archives, we can use them to do graphics and do alternate text, and maybe pass out some information, and even use pictures that we thought were taken for fun in a good project proposal, and build digital stories. And I also like that more women with disability to come into the PIRL project if it has to continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Hello, Dr. Luis.
Yes, Mohammed.
Yes, I'm Mohamedou Abubakar. And I just want to say that this conference was worth sharing, organizing, and the various learnings that we have had. Because me personally, at first, I had a different perspective about research. I thought research was just about getting the thing done and probably keeping the results of findings in the library shelf for anyone who bothers to go to the library and access it. But this program has made me understand that it is not only about carrying out research, but what matters is sharing the research and sharing the research to everybody, not only particular persons who can read, because it has given me various ways of disseminating my research using language and paralanguage, like pictures, infographics. And I did not know that theater and storytelling could be very good avenues for disseminating research, but I've seen how plausible and how easy and interesting it can be to disseminate research findings through to various people using these media. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Muhammadu, for those reflections. Constance, for maybe 1 minute.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Cameroon time. Thank you, Luis, for the opportunity. I want to first of all start by saying thank you to the PIRL Institute and its partners and organizers for such a wonderful initiative. I mean, it has helped some of us to challenge ourselves. Attending a virtual conference for more than 3 hours in one day, I think it's a big step for some of us that are community leaders. About the impact of the institute, I think it has played a role in my life personally. Like I talk of the challenge, how I had to challenge myself to make sure I attended all the workshops and all the sessions. I also go ahead to say the institute was worth organizing because we are in time in Cameroon where there are a lot of issues, and we are trying to come up with interventions to a lot of community problems, and research is one of the methods in which we are using to be able to get information that will help us to carry out our intervention. So the institute was worth organizing to some of us. What was interesting, what did not go well? The interesting part of the institute for me was the fact that everybody's opinion was taken into consideration. We had opportunities to learn on individual basis, one-on-one, and we had opportunities to also share our own ideas. The moderation was wonderful. Leslie did an awesome job, and I think it went so well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We will move now to recognizing our partners. The PIRL project is actually a partnership project. And throughout these years and ongoing, we have been learning a lot about how to maintain our partnerships in disability inclusive development research. And this was one of the themes in 2019. We have discussed North-South cooperation, and we are in the process of developing research and articles to discuss these dimensions in research. And we really want to recognize our partners. SHARE, the Social Science and Humanities Research Council, is our funder, and we want to recognize ICDR, CNIB, University of Bamenda, STARC, Coordinating Unit of Association of Persons with Disabilities, the Northwest Association of Women with Disabilities, the Blind Union, David Berman and Associates, and the University of Toronto. Thank you so much for being our partners. We want to recognize our, recognize our speakers and facilitators for all the time they spent to be able to be here with us and to present. It's not one day that you prepare a facilitation like this. We have been with them through emails and phone calls and WhatsApp. And we really, really appreciate your dedication to this institute. Thank you so much to all our facilitators and our speakers. We want to thank our student assistants and work study students who were with us and who did just such a formidable job with us. We have a network of over 100 professionals and community people, everybody who is interested in disability inclusive research. We really want to thank you and to appreciate you for the interest that you have shown. It has pushed us to think further and to think about how possible ways of moving forward. This year's Institute organizers, we really, through my voice, the PIRL project appreciates you We already spoke about Leslie and Lynn, who has been at the helm directing everything, making sure she follows up that things are done well. 9 and Louis, we really want to appreciate all of you for the dedication to work. Above all, as the Institute participants, if we did all the organization and you were not there, nothing is going to work. So we want to thank you for the time. Thank you for dedicating so much energy and for engaging. As we said in the beginning of the day, you were really engaged till the end. We really want to appreciate you. Please continue to have this dedication to disability inclusive research, and we will stay with you. If at any moment, feel free to get to us. We want to do a final recognition to one of our steering committee members, who is Deb Cameron. I don't know if Komita is around, Professor Komita. Would have loved you to, in a special way, recognize Deb Cameron for all the work that she has been doing. But if you are not there, let me just go ahead for want of time. We really want to, Deb is one of those dedicated researchers interested in community-related work, and she has been part of the PIRL project from inception. Even though retired and having a lot of family commitments, she decided to be part of this project and to make sure that she continues. And at some point, she gave, from her earnings, she gave a grant to the women with disabilities in the to continue doing some activities related to disability and inclusion. We really want to thank you very much, Deb, and we pray that you have all the health and everything to continue supporting us and to continue being with us. We have just a minute, and we want to officially close this session. A huge thank you to all of you for making this event possible. Congratulations to all those who were able to get points and are going to be having certificates, as was mentioned to you. We will officially close the Institute now. However, there will be some side discussions for those who want to network. Please feel free to stay a bit and have such discussions, but you can as well leave whenever you want. And I want to say on behalf of the PIRL project and its partners, on behalf of the steering committee of the PIRL project, which is represented in this session by Prof. Kometa Shende, on behalf of the organizing committee of this institute, made up of Louis, Lynn, and Leslie and 9, I officially declare the 2021 PIRL Institute closed. Do have a beautiful rest of the day. Here is our PIRL website, and you can always get to it, and you can always send us any worries or any inquiries through our email, that is pearl@utoronto.ca. So have a great day and see you soon.